Next up, we're going to go to West Africa to hear from Teranga Resources and their president and CEO, Richard Young. Richard.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here and in Singapore. Thank the One-to-One group because what a beautiful place. So first and foremost is our forward-looking statement. I will be making forward-looking statements, so here's our safe harbor language. So looking at Teranga, we see ourselves as both a value and a growth story. We've got gold assets at all stages: production, development, advanced, as well as early stage exploration. And from a value perspective, based on the two technical reports we filed last year for our two principal assets, we should be trading about $7.50 a share Canadian, and we're currently just over $5. And that gives us absolutely no credit for any growth within those two assets, which I'll talk about in a minute, or any of the assets in our pipeline of projects. So looking at Teranga, our vision is to create a mid-tier gold producer in West Africa, and we think that we're well on our way to achieving that vision. We've got a producing mine in Senegal. We've got a second mine under construction in Burkina Faso. We have an advanced stage exploration project also in Burkina Faso that is fully funded through feasibility, and we've got a very attractive exploration pipeline in Côte d'Ivoire. Looking at 2017, it was a very good year for us. We had record production from our flagship Sabodala mine. We took our second mine through feasibility study, and since then we've put the financing in place and begun construction. We had a lot of exploration success through all three countries that we operate in, led by Golden Hill, and we acquired an interest in a JV in Côte d'Ivoire on a very prospective property. Turning to CSR, our mission is to create long-term sustainable value for all of our stakeholders, and we do that through a trust-based relationship. And that hard work on the CSR front is paying off. Not only have we not had any issues either operating or development projects, but we're winning awards that further paves the way for us as we develop into a mid-tier gold company. So turning to Sabodala, it's our flagship mine. It's been in production since 2009. Last year it produced 233,000 ounces. It was a record. Our first quarter was very strong as well, 64,000 ounces at lower cost than the earlier period. So as we stand today, we've got 2.7 million ounces in reserves, 13-year mine life. We redid our mine plan last year, improved it, so we expect to produce over 1 million ounces over the next 5 years and generate $230 million in free cash flow. That's at $1,250 gold. We're currently in the process of moving the local village, which will give us access to our larger deposit on the mine license. So once that takes place and we drill that off, we expect reserves to rise, production to rise, as well as free cash flow. So now looking at Wahgnion, which is the second key pillar in our growth strategy. The project is in construction. We expect first pour next year. Once developed, it'll increase production by 50%. We started off last year with a reserve of 1.2 million ounces. We'll have a resource update by the end of this quarter, followed by a reserve update and new mine plan in the third quarter. We expect reserves to rise and economics to improve. But beyond that, sorry about that. In the handout, there's an extra slide. So the reserve only includes the first 4 deposits. There's more than a dozen targets within trucking distance of the mill that we haven't drilled yet. So ultimately, we believe we'll have a 15 to 20-year mine life at attractive all-in sustaining costs for this project. So turning to Golden Hill, it's our most advanced exploration project. It is located in Burkina Faso, on the Houndé Belt, an area well known for high-grade discoveries. Our drill results to date suggest that this could be our third mine and take us to 500,000 ounces within the next 5 years and mid-tier status. So closer look, 5 deposits we've drilled to date. We'll have a maiden resource before the end of this year, and we're fully financed through feasibility on this project. We think it is one of the best exploration projects in West Africa. So turning to Côte d'Ivoire, Côte d'Ivoire is a country viewed by many as the most prospective in Africa. We started off with a JV there 18 months ago on 4 early-stage exploration properties. Please report we've added 1 property to that portfolio, and 3 of those are moving forward very well, the most advanced of which is Guitry. Guitry is a property where we identified a 3 by 7 kilometer anomaly, gold anomaly. We drilled a kilometer of that during the first quarter with very good results, and we think we're onto something, and we'll have a drill program for that in Q4. So looking at Afema is a property located in the southeast corner of Côte d'Ivoire. There's a couple parallel gold belts coming through Ghana that intersect on the property. There's a historic resource of 2 million ounces on it. There was a competitive bid process for this asset late last year by some of the largest mining companies in the world. We won in part because of our strong CSR efforts and in part because of our cornerstone investor, which I'll talk about in a minute. But our first goal is to analyze historic results from this. This was a former producer. We're going to analyze that historic data to plan out an exploration program. But more importantly, there's a historic resource. We're currently remodeling that to determine next drill targets and updating a feasibility study on that property as we speak. So in wrapping up, with our second mine coming into production, it'll increase production to 350,000 ounces and increase cash flows to $100 million. I'd caveat that's from the tech reports filed, so it does not reflect exploration expenditures or the financing that we put in place for our second and third asset. Needless to say, they will be strong. That is at $1,300 gold. You see production decline in 2023, as I mentioned earlier. The programs we've got underway at those 2 key assets should allow us to maintain 300,000 to 350,000 ounces on those projects. Thereby, when we bring in Golden Hill and anything in Côte d'Ivoire, it'll be additive. In terms of financing, we complete a finance with Taurus Funds to take our second project through construction and our third project through feasibility. So we believe that between this financing, our cash on the balance sheet, and our free cash flow from our operating asset, we're fully funded to be able to move forward with our Burkina Faso assets. In terms of our capital structure, we underperformed our peers through the second half of last year when we were delisting off of the ASX. That delisting was completed on December 12th, and as you can see, the stock immediately began to outperform. That was on the basis of completing the ASX delisting, but as well, we had a lot of very positive news flow through the course of last year into this year, and we believe that will continue. We're covered by some of the largest Canadian brokerage firms, including Canaccord, Cormark, BMO, and RBC. We've got a strong institutional following led by Tableau Corporation, which is controlled by David Mimran. He's also on our board of directors. He and his family have been active in West Africa for more than 60 years. They're the largest private employer in 2 of the 3 jurisdictions in which we operate in. He spends the majority of his time in both Senegal and Côte d'Ivoire. This gives us a distinct advantage. In terms of catalysts, as we move forward through the course of this year, we expect to have strong operating results from our flagship Sabodala mine. We expect to have a resource update and a reserve and new mine plan for Wayal this year, which will be our second mine at Golden Hill. A number of exploration releases leading to a maiden resource by the end of the year, and then exploration and development updates for Côte d'Ivoire. So in summary, we think we're located in one of the fastest growing gold producing regions in the world. We believe that as we advance our project pipeline and deliver on our milestones, there's a number of catalysts to continue to take the share price higher. And as you can see on the right-hand side, we are trading at a discount to our peer group just based on our current asset base without respect to our pipeline. So we believe there's further upside in our share price. So that is the Teranga story. So thank you for coming today, and I've got a booth, so if you've got any questions, please come see me. Thank you very much.